Morning. I am V. Srinivas Reddy, Associate Professor of Mathematics, Government Degree College, Ramanpet. This is my 26th video lesson and the first video lesson on real analysis. Today, I will talk about limit of a sequence. Before going to define limit of a sequence, first I will some basic concepts on real numbers, and then I will define limit of a sequence and convergent sequence, and we see one or two problems on limit of a sequence. So before going to define limit of a sequence, first we know what are the numbers, some basic concepts on numbers. First we know n is denotes the set of natural numbers. We know that 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. This is called a set of natural numbers. And w denotes the set of whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And z is equal to z, set of integers, and it is denoted by z or I. Set of integers denoted by I or z. This can be written as -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Or this can be written as 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3 and so on. So set of all integers. So integers can be denoted by I or z. I or z. So here generally here Z denotes the German word for number is Jahla. That's why the set of integers can be denoted by also Z. So the German word for numbers is Jahla. That's why the set of integers is denoted by Z. So now rational numbers, set of rational numbers, and also this is called quotients. These are the fractions. Quotients is the set of all m by n, m comma n belongs to z, and n not equal to 0, and n not equal to 0. So here denominator not equal to 0. If n equal to 0, it is undefined. That's why. So Q will be the set of all rational numbers, or it can be written as the set of all m by n, mn belongs to z, and n not equal to 0. Or m by n, m belongs to z, n is natural number. M is integer and n is a natural number. So, and also we see every integer is also a rational number, because suppose 2 is an integer, 2 can be written as 2 by 1. So every integer is also a rational number. And also some numbers like root 2, root 3, these are called the numbers like root 2, root 3, which are not rationals, are called the rational numbers. That means these numbers can not be written as in the form of m by n, where m belongs to z, n belongs to n, or mn belongs to z and not equal to 0. So the numbers like root 2, root 3, root 5, these are called the cube root of 5, fifth root of 5, these are called the irrational numbers. So the numbers like root 2, root 3, which are not rationals, are called irrational numbers. So mean the set of all real numbers. The set of all real numbers. So real numbers means, the union of rational numbers and irrational numbers. So union of set of all rational numbers and set of all irrational numbers. Set of all rational numbers. And also finally, what are the complex numbers? Set of all complex numbers. A plus IB, where AB belongs to R, and I square is equal to -1, and I square equal to I is a complex number. It can be I square equal to -1. So we observe that n is subset of W. So every element in n is the element of W. So n is subset of W, and W is subset of Z, because every element of W is just an element of the Z, and also Z is subset of Q, because if you take 0 can be written 0 by 1, so it is also rational number. So 1 can be written as 1 by 1, 2 can be written as 2 by 1. So every integer is an rational number, and R is the set of real numbers. R is the union of set of all rationals and irrationals. So n is subset of W, subset of Z is subset of Q, is subset of R, and the subset of C. Every real number also a complex number, because every real number can be, suppose A belongs to R, A can be written as A equal to A plus I0. That's why R is subset of C. So these are the already you know that We know already all these numbers in 8th class, 9th class are already we studied in the intermediate also. And we see a basic concept, absolute of a number or modulus of a number. So how can we define this? For A belongs to R, for A is a real number, we define mod A is equal to A if A greater than equal to 0, and minus A if A less than 0. So mod A is defined as A if A greater than 0. If A is negative, we define mod A equal to minus A. If A is a negative, and mod A equal to minus A. So this is called the modulus of A or absolute value of. So we write this like this, mod A. So therefore modulus of A equal mod A is equal to A if A greater than 0, and mod A equal to minus A if A less than 0. So generally we studied in earlier classes in either 8th or 9th, just we know it's simply mod 5, mod minus 5, just we write only positive thing. How can we get? Suppose the mod 5 is there, 5 is greater than 0, that's why you can write mod A equal to A, that's why mod 5 equal to 5. So here mod minus 5, since minus 5 is negative, that's why we have to write minus A. So minus of minus 5, A is minus 5, that's why 5. So finally, modulus of a number means whether it is positive or negative, we can write only positive. Modulus of a number can write positive. And mod 0 is 0, mod 0, 0. So in lower classes, just we write only mod minus 5 means just positive 5. And mod 5 also 5. Mod minus 6 also 6, 6 also 6. So finally, some properties on absolute numbers, modulus. For AB belongs to R, modulus of a number, mod A always greater than equal to 0. It cannot be negative modulus of A by definition of the modulus of a number. So here mod minus mod A less than equal to A less than equal to mod A. Here minus mod A less than equal to A less than equal to mod A. And mod A plus B less than equal to mod A plus mod B. This is called a triangular inequality. So mod A plus B less than equal to mod A plus mod A. This is called a triangular inequality. So we can use this result in so many theorems. Mod A plus B always less than equal to mod A plus mod B. This is called triangular inequality. And mod A minus B greater than equal to mod A minus mod B. And mod AB equal to mod A into mod B. And mod A minus A by B equal to mod A by mod B for B not equal to 0. Mod X equal to K if and only if X equal to plus or minus K. Mod X equal to K if and only if X equal to plus or minus K. Mod X less than K if and only if minus K less than X less than K. And mod X minus C. So how can we get mod X equal to K if and only if X equal to plus or minus K? So if X is positive, we can write mod X equal to X, we get X equal to K. If X is negative, mod X as minus X equal to K, that's why you get X equal to minus K. Here, how can we get mod X equal to K plus X equal to plus or minus K? If X is positive, mod X equal to X, X equal to K. If X is negative, X less than 0, mod X can be written minus X equal to K, we get X equal to minus K. So whenever mod X equal to K, then automatically X equal to plus or minus K. And similarly, mod X, this is also so many times you can use this result. Mod X less than K plus minus K less than X less than K. Minus K less than X less than K. So how can we get this? Since if X positive, we get mod X plus X less than K. First, this we will get. If X is negative, what happens? Mod X. By definition, what is the definition of the modulus of a number? So if A positive, mod A can be written as A. If A negative, we can write mod A equal to minus. That's why we'll get here. If X is negative, we can write mod X equal to minus X. Minus X less than K. That means X greater than minus K. So minus K less than X. So we'll get this. So mod X less than K minus K less than X less than K. So we get this is also a result we can use so many times. Similarly, mod X minus A less than epsilon if and if. So here in place of X is there X minus C. So minus epsilon less than X minus C less than epsilon. So adding C, you get C minus epsilon less than X less than C plus epsilon. So finally, you get mod X less than equal to K means minus K less than equal to X less than equal to K. This is also similarly we get. If X is positive, mod X can be written as, if X is positive, mod X can be written as X. So X less than equal to K. If X is negative, mod x is minus x, so minus k less than equal to x less than equal to k. And mod a is always the maximum of a comma minus. For example, you see here, so mod 5 is 5. So what is the maximum of a comma minus 5? Mod 5 means maximum of 5 minus 5, 5. So get 5. Similarly here, if a is equal to minus 5, maximum of a comma minus a minus 5, 5 is maximum. So get my, so in other words, mod a means maximum of a comma minus. And also mod x minus c less than equal to epsilon if and only if c minus epsilon less than equal to x less than equal to c plus epsilon. So many theorems we can use this result, mod a plus b less than equal to mod a plus mod b. And also we can use this result, mod x minus c less than epsilon means minus epsilon less than x minus c less than epsilon, and c minus epsilon less than x less than c plus epsilon. These are two results we can use in so many theorems. And also mod x less than k means minus k less than x less than. So finally, modulus of a number means, so we can just write whether a positive or negative, we write only positive. So whether a positive or negative, modulus of a number means we write just positive. How can we get this? So here mod 5, mod minus 5, just only write 5. In earlier in lower classes, just they tell చిన్న క్లాసులో మనకి mod 5 అన్న mod minus 5 అన్న just 5 అని చెప్పేసి. How can we get this? Because it is 5 positive, mod 5 to 5. Minus 5 is negative, minus of a. So a is minus 5, minus of minus 5, 5. So that's why. So modulus of a number means whether positive or negative, just write only positive. So చిన్న క్లాస్ లో కూడా మనం modulus of a number అన్నప్పుడు అది పాజిటివ్ ఉన్నా నెగిటివ్ ఉన్నా పాజిటివ్ ఉన్నా. సో అక్కడ మనం డెఫినేషన్ వాడాం కాబట్టి అక్కడ డైరెక్ట్ చెప్తారు. ఇక్కడ జస్ట్ యూ కెన్ యూజ్ ఓన్లీ బై డెఫినేషన్ దిస్ ఇస్ అ పాజిటివ్. So finally, modulus of a always greater than equal to 0. I can see this result can be used so many times. Mod a plus b less than mod a plus mod b. And also this result, mod x less than k if and if minus k less than x less than k. Mod x minus c less than epsilon if and if minus epsilon less than x minus c less than epsilon. What is the meaning of an interval? When you say a subset of R is called interval. Suppose a subset S of R is called interval if, when you say, suppose S is subset of R, this S is called interval if A comma B belongs to S, X belongs to R, and A less than X less than B implies X also belongs to S, then S is called interval. That means if you take any 2 points in a set S, between these 2 points, if you take any number, that number also lies in the set S. So if you take any 2 numbers in S and take X such that A less than X less than B, then X also lies in S. AB మధ్యలో ఏది తీసుకున్నా సరే, ఏ నెంబర్ తీసుకున్నా సరే, అదే ఆ నెంబర్ S లో ఉంటే then we see that it is called an interval. So any number lies between two members of S is also in the set S, then that is called interval. So phi is an interval generally, usually. Why? Because we take phi has no elements, that's why you can treat as interval. N is not interval. Why N is not interval? Natural numbers is not interval. Because here N is not interval. Why? N means 1, 2, 3, 4 or so. Suppose if you take 1, 2 numbers between 1 and 2, between 1 and 2, 3 by 2 is there. 3 by 2 doesn't belong to N. So if you take 1, 2 belongs to N, 1 less than 3 by 2 less than 2, 3 by 2 doesn't belong to N. That's why N is not an interval. Similarly here, Z also not interval because between 1 and 2, 3 by 2 is there. So 3 by 2 doesn't belong to Z. That's why Z is not interval. Similarly, Q is also not interval because between 1 and 2, 1, 2 belongs to Q. Between 1 and 2, root 2 is there. Root 2 doesn't belong to Q. That's why N, Z, Q are not intervals. So finally, interval means a subset S of R is called interval. If you take any 2 points in S and A less than X less than B for a real number X, then X also lies in S. So otherwise it is called not interval. So if you take any number between A and B is also lies in S. So if you take any 2 numbers in S, the number lies between A and B also in S, then S is called interval. Because Q is not interval, because if you take 1, 2 or 2 numbers in Q, but root 2 lies between 1 and 2, because root 2 is 1.4 something. So 1 less than root 2 less than 2. So root 2 is not a rational. That's why it is not an interval. See, open interval means suppose A comma B belongs to R and A less than B. Then the set X belongs to R, set of all real numbers between A and B. So the set X belongs to R, A less than X less than B. So this we denote AB. This is called open interval AB. That means set of all real numbers between A and B. The set of all real numbers between A and B is called open interval A and B. Is called open interval A and B. So this is denoted by here AB. Here it is denoted by open interval AB. So open interval AB means the set of all real numbers between A and B. For example, if you take 1, 3, open interval 1, 3 means the set of all real numbers between 1 and 3. So open interval A 1, 3 means the set of all real numbers between 1 and 3. And 1, 3 majya vanna anni real numbers itni open interval 1, 3. So what is the closed interval? The set AB, this can be written as like this. Closed interval. Here X belongs to R, A less than equal to X less than equal to B. So that means the set of all real numbers between A and B can also A, also B. A also belongs to this set, B also this set. So set of all real numbers between A and B, A and B also. It's called closed interval A and B. Here we don't get A and B are does not be A, B doesn't belong to open interval A. Here A, B belongs to closed interval A. So for example, here open interval 1, 3 means the set of real numbers between 1 and 3 only. Here suppose closed interval 1, 3 means the set of all real numbers between 1 and 3 and 1 also 3 also. You can take 1, 3 also then element. So here in closed interval AB, A is also belongs to this set, B is also belongs to this set. Here A doesn't belong to this set, B doesn't belong to this set. This is called closed interval of A and B. So finally, closed interval AB means the set of all the real numbers between the set of all real numbers between A and B. We can take A and also B. This is called closed interval of A and B. Similarly, this is the left closed A at A and right open. This is called left closed and right open interval. This can be written as here set of all X belongs to R, the set of all X belongs to R, A less than equal to X less than B. So set of all real numbers between A and B can take A also is in this. Here B doesn't belong to this set. So this is called left open, left closed, right left closed, right open. Here A belongs to this set, but B doesn't belong to this set. So we can take left closed and right open means the set of all real numbers between A and B, we can take A also. A also belongs to this set. Here B doesn't belong to this set. This is called the left closed and right open. And also similarly, this is a left open and right closed. So set of all X belongs to R, A less than X less than equal to B. This is called a left open and right closed interval. Right closed interval. Left open, right closed. Here B belongs to this set, but A doesn't belong to this set. So A infinity. So A infinity. Set of all real numbers X greater than A. X greater than A. So and whenever we are writing infinity or minus infinity, we write only open because of we don't know whether what is the infinity. That's why we write only open. We don't write close. So open to A infinity means set of all X belongs to X greater than A. Here A less than X less than infinity. Actually this means so AB means A less than X less than B. Set of all real numbers. Here set of all real numbers A less than X less than infinity. That means X greater than A. Here this means A less than equal to X less than infinity. That is X greater than equal to A. Minus infinity comma A. Here this means minus infinity less than X less than A. That means X less than A. All real numbers X less than A. So this is a minus infinity A, right close. This means set of all real numbers X less than equal to A. X less than equal to A. So whenever we are writing infinity, we write only open, open, and open. We don't write close because infinity we don't know what is the number. It is so that's why We write only, it is an endless number, that's why we write only open. We don't write here for infinity or minus infinity close. And we come to the definition of the sequence. So we define sequence. Any function whose domain is set of natural numbers is called sequence. Simply, function is a function whose domain is set of natural numbers is called sequence. Simple, one word. So any function whose domain is set of natural numbers is called sequence. So we need only real sequence. We talk only real sequence. So real sequence means it's the range is subset of one. Any function f from n to r is called real sequence or sequence. If I say here sequence, this meaning only real sequence. We talk only real sequences. So here onwards, if I write a sequence, that means that is real sequence. So real sequence means a function whose domain is a set of natural numbers and range is subset of one. And range is subset of one. So any function whose domain is set of natural numbers and range is subset of one is called real sequence. So it's called real sequence. So, or just I will write sequence one. Just I will write sequence one. So finally, real sequence means any function whose domain is a set of natural numbers and range is subset of one. Or simply we say, we write if any function f from n to r is called real sequence or sequence. Here onwards, I will write only sequence. Sequence means it is only real sequence. We talk only real sequences. We talk only real sequences. So finally, so any function from n to r is called real sequence. Here, suppose here onwards I will write only sequence. Sequence means here real sequence. Suppose f from n to r be a sequence, then we can, what is the definition of a function? It is a function. Function means, what is the function? Suppose f from n to r is a function means for each x belongs to n, there exists a unique fx belongs to r. We know what is the definition of the function. When you say function f from a to b, a relation f from a to f from a to b is called function. For each x belongs to a, there exists a unique fx belongs to b. So here it is a function means for each n belongs to n, there exists a unique fn belongs to r. So that's why I have written. So for each n belongs to n, there exists a unique real number fn because fn belongs to r. So that's why then for each n belongs to n, there exists a unique real number fn. If you denote fn by sn, so if you denote fn by Sn, then the sequence can be written as Sn. So here domain is a set of natural numbers. We can write n is equal to 1, S1, S2, S3. So we'll write this Sn n equal to 1 to infinity. Here onwards, I don't write just only like bracket Sn. That means sequence Sn. If I write like this, this means sequence Sn. This can be written as like this also. Sn n is equal to 1 to infinity. Or we can write S1, S2, S3, S4 also. Here onwards, if I write like this sequence Sn, bracket Sn, that means sequence Sn. Here only if I say sequence means here it is a real sequence because we talk only on real sequence. So f from n to r be a sequence means for each n belongs to n, there is this unique real number fn. If I write this fn by Sn, fn equal Sn, so this can be written as Sn equal to 1 to infinity. S1, S2, S3. Just simply I will write Sn. This means sequence Sn. For example, you see Sn equal to minus 1 power n. So sequence Sn equal to bracket Sn. If I write like this, it is sequence Sn. So S1, S2, S3, and so on. What is S1? If I write n equal to 1, minus 1 power 1. Minus 1 power 1 is minus 1. S2 is minus 1 square. So 2 is even number, minus 1 square is 1. Minus 1 into minus 1 plus 1. So if S3 n equal to 3, minus 1 cube. Minus 1 cube, 3 is odd number. So minus 1 into minus 1 plus 1, 1 into minus 1, minus 1, we get minus 1. So minus 1 power 4, n is odd, even. So minus 1 power 4, 1. So S4 is 1. So this is the sequence. So if simply I will write sequence Sn means bracket Sn. So this can be written as S1, S2, S3, and so on, or it can be written as Sn equal to 1 to infinity. So when I say sequence means here real sequence. see one or two problems. Write the first 5 terms of the sequence. Sn equal to 1 by 3n plus 1. Sn equal to sine n pi by 4. Sine n pi by 4. So here Sn equal to 1 by 3n plus 1. So if you write n is equal to 1, S1. What is the 1 by 3 into 1? 3 plus 1, 1 by 4. S2. What is S2? 1 by 3 into 2, 1 by 6 plus 1, 1 by 7. S3. 9, 3 into 3, 9 plus 1, 10. S4. 12, 3 into 4, 12 plus 1, 13. N is equal to 5. What is n equal to 5? 3 into 5, 15 plus 1, 16, 1 by 16. So first 5 terms of the sequence, Sn equal to 1, S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. So we'll get 1 by 4, 1 by 7, 1 by 10, 1 by 13, 1 by 16. And we see Sn equal to sine n pi by 4. Sine n pi by 4. Here, S1 equal to sine pi by 4. Sine 45, 1 by root 2. Sine 91. So if n is equal to 2, 2 will be cancelled to sine 91. S3 sine 3 pi by 4. This can be written as sine pi minus pi by 4. That is sine pi by 4 will get 1 by root 2. S4. 4 will cancel sine pi 0. S5. 5 pi by 4. This can be written as sine pi plus pi by 4. So sine pi plus pi by 4 is sine minus sine pi by 4 because it is in the third quadrant. So we'll get minus 1 by root. Sine 5 pi by 4 means sine pi plus pi by 4. That is the third quadrant. So sine is negative. We'll get minus sine pi by 4. We'll get minus 1 by 4. So first 5 terms are S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. So we'll get 1 by root 2, 1, 1 by root 2, 0, minus 1 by root 2. So first I will define what is the limit of a sequence. When you say sequence is called convergence. So definition is a sequence Sn of real numbers. So if I write or there is no need of to write every time. When I say sequence means it is a real sequence. So a sequence Sn of real numbers is said to converges to the real number S, or the sequence Sn converges to the number S if whenever taking epsilon greater than 0, for each epsilon greater than 0, there exists a number n such that mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for all n greater than n. So if for each epsilon, when you are taking epsilon greater than 0, then there exists a number n such that mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for all n greater than n. That means after n, if you take any term, the difference between these two is S and S is less than epsilon. For example, if you take n is equal to 6, capital N equal to 6, n greater than 6. That means after 7th term, S7 minus S less than epsilon, S8 minus S less than epsilon, S9 minus S less than epsilon, and so. If I take n in capital N equal to 6, so n greater than 6 means we can take 7, 8, 9, and so. So in that case, mod S7 minus S is less than epsilon, mod S8 minus S less than epsilon, and so on, mod S9. So that means, so a sequence Sn is called converges to a real number S. If you take any epsilon greater than 0, then there exists a number n for any epsilon greater than 0. However, it is small baby. However, it is small maybe. You can get a number n such that the difference between S and S less than epsilon, whenever we are taking n greater than n, when we are taking n greater than, the difference between modulus of Sn minus S and S, modulus of Sn is always less than epsilon for whatever, however small epsilon. So we can get a number n such that for all n greater than n. So the simple this meaning, suppose if you take n is equal to 8, after 9th term, S9, S10, S mod S9 minus S less than epsilon, if you take n equal to 8, if S10 minus S less than epsilon, S11 minus S less than. After a certain number, after some terms, the difference between the term and S, sequence of the term and S is always less than epsilon. So finally, if Sn converges to S, then we write whenever mod Sn minus S less than epsilon, we write limit of n tends to Sn equal to we write, or S, or limit n tends to Sn equal to S, or just I will write limit Sn is equal to S, or Sn tends to S. So here, if I write limit Sn equal to S means, that means limit n tends to infinity Sn equal to, and if I write limit Sn, This means limit n tends to infinity Sn. So finally, limit n tends to Sn equal to S. So here the number S is called the limit of the sequences. Limit of the sequences. So whenever Sn converges to S, we say that limit of Sn equal to S. Only if I write a limit Sn equal to S means limit n tends to infinity. Limit n tends to infinity. So finally, definition, when we say limit Sn equal to S, finally, whenever taking for any epsilon, however small it may be, we can get there exists a number n. There exists a number n such that mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for all n greater than n. Here, capital N depends only epsilon. It depends only epsilon, not depending on the terms. So it depends only epsilon. So limit Sn equal to S. So if I write limit Sn equal to S means limit n tends to infinity Sn equal to S. So limit Sn equal to S means if you take any epsilon greater than 0, for any however small it may be, there exists a number n such that the difference between S and S less than epsilon for all n greater than. After nth term in the sequence, capital nth term in the sequence, the difference between that number and S always less than epsilon. Here n depends only epsilon. This is the definition of the limit of the sequence. See one or two problems. So using definition, limit of 1 by n square equal to 0. Limit of 1 by n square equal to 0. So here, this is the definition. Mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for all n greater than n. So if you take any epsilon greater than 0, we can get a number n such that mod Sn minus S less than epsilon. So already we know using definition so that the limit 1 by n square equal to 0. We know that already generally, directly, as n tends to infinity, n square tends to infinity, 1 by infinity will get 0. N square tends to infinity, 1 by n square tends to 0. So if you take let Sn equal to 1 by n square and S equal to 0. So let epsilon greater than 0. So by definition, whenever epsilon greater than 0, we can get a number n, capital N, such that the difference between S and S less than epsilon for all n greater than n. So now we have to get n. Let epsilon greater than 0. So mod Sn minus S. So mod Sn minus S is 1 by n square minus 0. So this is mod 1 by n square. And this is equal to 1 by n square. Because it is a positive number 1 by n square. Because n belongs to n. So n is natural number. That's why 1 by n square. So now we have to show mod Sn minus S less than epsilon. So this is less than epsilon. So mod this is less than epsilon. We have to show. So mod Sn minus S less than epsilon if 1 by n square less than epsilon. So mod Sn minus S less than epsilon if 1 by n square less than epsilon. So 1 by n square less than epsilon means n square greater than 1 by epsilon. Whenever reversing, sign will be changed. We know that 2 less than 4. For example, 2 less than 4, 1 by 2 is greater than 1 by 4. So whenever reversing the number, sign will be changed. Here less than is there, so greater than. So 1 by n square less than epsilon implies n square greater than 1 by epsilon. That is n greater than 1 by root epsilon. So for example, if you take 2 less than 4, this implies 1 by 2 greater than 1 by 4. So finally, so n greater than 1 by root epsilon. So mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for n greater than 1 by root epsilon. Choose n is equal to capital N equal to 1 by root epsilon. Then we'll get. So if you take this, choose n equal to 1 by root epsilon, we'll get mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for n greater than n. So therefore, by definition, limit Sn equal to this. The limit Sn is 1 by n square. That is the limit 1 by n square equal to 0. Limit 1 by n square equal to 0. So here, just observe that epsilon greater than 0, Sn equal to 1 by n square, S equal to 0. So mod Sn minus S equal to 1 by mod 1 by n square minus 0. That is mod 1 by n square. That is 1 by n square. That is less than epsilon. So it is less than epsilon if 1 by n square less than epsilon. That is n square greater than 1 by epsilon, n greater than 1 by root. If you take capital N equal to 1 by root epsilon, we get mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for n greater than n. Therefore, limit Sn equal to S. Therefore, limit 1 by n square equal to 0. See another problem. So using a definition, so that limit 3n plus 1 by 7n minus 4 equal to 3 by 7. So let Sn equal to 3n plus 1 by 7n minus 4, s is equal to 3 by 7. So let epsilon greater than 0. So by definition, whenever taking epsilon greater than 0, you get a number n. You have to get a number n such that the difference between these two less than epsilon for all n greater than n. So we see let epsilon greater than 0. So mod Sn minus s. So Sn is 3n plus 1 by 7n minus 4. S is 3 by 7. So LCM is 7 into 7n minus 4. We'll get 7 into 3n, 21n. 7 into 1, 7. And minus 3 into 7n, minus 21n. Minus minus plus 3 into 4, 12. So here 2 into 3n, 21n. 7 into 1, 7. So minus 3 into 7n, minus 21n, minus 4 into minus 3 plus 2. So finally get 21 and 21 cancel, 7 plus 12, 19. So 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4. So since for n belongs to 7n minus 4 positive, so can be written as 19 by 7 positive, we can write 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4. This is less than, we have to show mod Sn minus s is less than, so this is less than epsilon. If so, finally, mod Sn minus s less than epsilon. So mod Sn minus s less than epsilon. If mod Sn minus s less than epsilon, if 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4 less than epsilon. 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4 less than epsilon. So mod Sn minus s equal to, here we are getting 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4. So here you see 7 into 3n minus 4 LCM, 21n plus 7 minus 21n plus 12. So we'll get 7 into 7n minus 4. So that is 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4. So that equal 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4. Since 7n minus 4 is positive, this is less than epsilon. So mod Sn minus s less than epsilon. If 19 by 7 into 7n minus 4 is less than epsilon. So reversing the number, when reversing the number, sign will be changed. Less than will be greater than. So reversing the number 7 into 7n minus 4 by 19 greater than epsilon. 1 by epsilon. So because we know, for example, 2 less than 4, then automatically 1 by 2 or 1 by 2 greater than 1 by 4. So 7 by 19 into 7n minus 4 by greater than 1 by epsilon. So finally we'll get 7n minus 4 greater than 19 by 7 epsilon. 19 by 7 epsilon. So if you take this minus 4 right hand side, 7n greater than 19 by 7 epsilon plus 4. So finally we'll get 9 greater than 19 by 7, 49, 7 into 7, 49 epsilon, and plus 4 by 7. So 7n greater than 19 by 7 epsilon plus 4, and n greater than 19 by 14 of 49 epsilon plus 4 by 7. So n greater than 19 by 49 epsilon plus 4 by 7. So if you take, so finally we are getting mod Sn minus s less than epsilon for n greater than 19 by 49 epsilon plus 4 by 7. If you take n is equal to, let n equal to 19 by 49 epsilon plus 4 by 7, then we'll get n greater than n. So mod Sn minus s less than epsilon for all greater than n. So finally, so mod Sn minus s less than epsilon, mod Sn minus s less than epsilon, mod Sn minus s less than epsilon, if n greater than 19 by 49 epsilon plus 4 by 7. So capital N, if you take capital N equal to 19 by 49 epsilon plus 4 by 7, then we will get mod Sn minus s less than epsilon for all n greater than n. So by definition, Sn converges to s, or limit Sn equal to s. So limit 3n plus 1 by 7n minus 4 equal to 3 by 7. Here if I write the limit Sn means, this means limit n tends to infinity Sn. Limit Sn tends to infinity Sn. So limit 3n plus 1 by 2 7n minus 4 equal to 3 by 7. So this is the today's class. So what is the meaning of limit Sn equal s? So you write limit n tends to Sn equal s. Limit n tends to infinity Sn can be written as limit Sn. So limit Sn means limit n tends to infinity Sn. So limit Sn equal to S or Sn converges to S. So a sequence of real numbers converges to real number S. So Sn converges to S means if if you take any epsilon greater than 0, we get a number. The existing number is that mod Sn minus S always less than for all n greater than. That means if you take any term in the sequence after nth term, after capital nth term, if you take 10, n is equal to 10, after 10th term, the difference between that number and S always less than epsilon. Modulus of that number and minus S always less than epsilon. So finally, limit of Sn equal S means if you take any epsilon, however small may be, you can get a number for any epsilon greater than 0. You get a number n such that mod Sn minus S less than epsilon for all n greater than n. Here n depends only. This is the today's class. We can see. Thank you.